This is the AM640 Afternoon Drive Show on Talk Radio. AM640.
Marijuana dispensaries were raided again by Toronto cops. Marc Emery's Cannabis Culture on Queen Street West was searched by officers. Says, 3 of the store's staff members were arrested. Not clear yet if they've been charged. Marc Emery opened up the store again today for business, and he says he's going to stay in business. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here. So Cannabis Culture on Queen Street West is open right now?
Oh, and we're rocking it, too. We're doing huge volume.
All right. So, I mean, you are the self-proclaimed Prince of Pot in Canada.
Well, I don't proclaim that. You'll never hear me saying that. But CNN gave me that 20 years ago, and everybody uses it.
Would you rather me make up a different one?
Oh, no, I love the name.
Okay.
I don't ever use it, so you can't say self-styled. I don't go around saying I'm the Prince of Pot to anybody.
Okay. Well, you're dubbed by some as the Prince of Pot. How's that?
There you go. And it's a great name.
Yeah, so you are a huge advocate for the legalization of marijuana, so we don't even have to ask where your vote went when you were voting in the last federal election. But
I enthusiastically supported Mr. Trudeau and the Liberal Party.
I'm sure you did. So you're resuming selling your marijuana products today. That includes pot, right?
Oh, of course. It's most precisely it includes pot. Most of what we're selling right now is raw bud. When you get raided, they take all your stuff, and they took our iPads and our credit card acceptance machines and stuff like that. But we don't keep much inventory on hand, so we didn't lose a lot of weed. And what we do, we have enough here today, and we kept selling it out, so we would get more.
Are you stocking a little bit, just enough, and keeping a stockpile somewhere because you know that the raids are inevitable?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly how you do it. I've been arrested 28 times in Canada, and I've been raided 6 times. And, I have experience in every aspect of the criminal justice system regarding marijuana. So I know how to minimize your losses. And that's always don't have much product on hand. And because police only have limited resources, they can't go chasing all your subsidiaries and sources and people coming and going. They basically make a bust, they do the paperwork, and they let the courts handle it.
You said that every single Canadian who has a passion for marijuana should be entitled to go into business and serve the public and serve the demand. And you are doing that today. You're serving the demand. You're selling to people even if they don't. And you're selling to people even if they don't have a medicinal marijuana card?
Well, why should they use that? Every Canadian 19 years of age and older is certainly qualified to make their own decisions about what they use their marijuana for. And how lovely it is when people can just walk into the store off a main street like Queen Street West and walk in and look at the samples, smell them, touch them, and decide what they want, and then just walk out. No rigmarole, no taxes, no government supervision and telling them what's right or what's not right about this pot. They love the product. They come back all the time. Our customers love it because cannabis culture has a fabulous reputation, a reputation far superior than any of this corporate cronies that are going to get the distribution monopolies that the federal government envisions and the city of Toronto envisions. So the public is already voting with its dollars and its feet. They're coming here, hundreds of people in one day, right after we're raided, from all over central Ontario to not just Toronto, but people came from London, Hamilton, Barrie, all around just to show their support because we have the support. And that's why we're never going to close. We're always going to keep opening, and we're going to open more. We want to have at least 200 cannabis culture locations in Canada by the end of next year, and we are determined to make it happen.
So, Marc, sounds to me, and I'm sure it sounds to the listeners, like you are basically taunting the cops. You're like, you know what? Come and get me. You said you're willing to be arrested. Are you?
No. I'm not taunting the cops. The cops are wrong.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, but beyond that, I want to just break in for a sec, and I'll let you have your say. But it does sound like you're taunting the cops because it's not legal right now to sell marijuana unless it's for medicinal purposes, right? And it's not really legal even the way the dispensaries are doing it as the law is set out right now. However, you're doing it and you're saying, you know what, I'm even selling to people who want it because I believe you should be able to get it. So I know you're willing to get arrested. What are you hoping to gain by taking this stand?
I'm hoping we don't get arrested, though, because arrests are really painful. They create a lot of problems. They cost money, lawyers. You can go to jail for them. I certainly have many, many, many times. In fact, I've seen 34 prisons and jails for my pot activism. So I'm very familiar with the whole criminal justice system. But the criminal justice system in this case is completely and utterly wrong and can't be supported and must be opposed. Every law in this country that protects liberty was done so by people breaking law, from Morgenthaler in the abortion law to Margaret Sanger distributing contraceptives to women trying to get the vote to homosexuals in bathhouses revolting and protesting in the streets to reverse the laws against homosexuality. It was all done by civil disobedience, and this is going to be no exception.
I'm not going to argue with you on those points. It's definitely the truth as far as history has shown. We're talking with Marc Emery, who's the Prince of Pot. Yesterday, his dispensary, Cannabis Culture in Queen West, was raided. Today, they're open again. Says he's going to stay open and keep selling the marijuana to whoever wants it. Mark, I'm getting the feeling, and that it seems like everybody's already like, you know what? We're almost there. The government said they're going to legalize it. I noticed there's a laxness. When I'd see, I know people that smoke pot, older boys, and, they used to kind of hide it. Now it's like, okay, I'm just going to smoke my doob because it seems like the fight is over now. The feds are moving forward to legalization. Are you finding that seems to be the way people are approaching marijuana these days?
Well, I wish the political establishment would approach it like the people are, but the political establishment expects us to wait for them. And I look at it this way. Hey, listen, you're 45 years with the wrong policy, 2 million Canadians with criminal records. You punished us, you persecuted us, you chased us down, you hounded us. Now it's time to legalize. Don't be doing that anymore. We've done it for 45 years, and it was wrong. And so if you guys are going to legalize in a year or 2 years or 3 years, do it tomorrow. And all that means is you just have to say, whatever you all are doing right now, it's legal, but you have to pay your taxes and you have to obey reasonable regulations. And reasonable regulations no one's opposed to, but the regulations that they're proposing for pot are not reasonable.
Toronto cops busted 4 marijuana dispensaries in the city. A total of 23 people were arrested and charged with various drug trafficking and possession charges, crime-related offenses, rather. Marijuana, hashish, and hash oil with a market value of $289,000 were seized, along with about $30,000 in cash. We're talking right now with Marc Emery, whose store was one of the ones raided yesterday, Cannabis Culture on Queen Street West. Mark, welcome back. Now, before the break, you're about to tell me how you thought the regulations that the government are proposing for pot when it becomes legal are unreasonable. How so?
They are, because what they want to do is usurp our industry. We've got hundreds of thousands of Canadians growing marijuana and selling marijuana and retailing it. And we already have years, decades of experience doing each one of those jobs. And we do them well within our culture outside of the law. So what we want is the government to say, listen, everything you're doing is now legal, but you have to pay your taxes and you have to be above board like every other legal business. And we would all go, that's great. But what the government wants to do is usurp our whole industry, take it away from all the people who've been growing pot and selling pot, and they want to give it to their cronies like the Liquor Control Board of Ontario.
How do you feel about the LCBO running weed sales?
Completely inappropriate, utterly inappropriate. They have no expertise or passion. First of all, a consumer only buys a product from the people who love that product. When you're a hobbyist or you've got some interest, you're going to go to where they reflect your value system. How does the LCBO reflect anybody's value
Well,
system?
I'm going to play devil's advocate for 2 seconds. I love wine, but I know that I'm not going to get somebody that's a connoisseur of wine in the LCBO, but it's convenient for me to go there and buy it. And I like the taste of wine and I like what it does to me. What if it's the same deal about weed?
Though. You can buy wine in over 5,000 restaurants.
Yeah, but
in Vancouver.
But restaurants. No, but I want to have it at home. And you can't buy it in grocery stores yet. And you know what? You can't buy it in grocery stores yet, Mark. Not here.
You can in BC.
I know you
can. Buy it at takeaway shops.
Yeah, you know what? I lived in BC. It's far more civilized than Ontario.
I know, but see, that's the thing. At least with the provinces being in charge of the distribution system, we will get some different variations on how it's to be distributed. But the worst way is to give a monopoly to a current government organization. First of all, nobody trusts the government, so I wouldn't trust my marijuana I got from a liquor control board, a government-regulated thing. The government are the people that have been persecuting us for 45 years, so the whole culture...
Wait. I got to go back, because you're saying some interesting things, but you're saying them very quickly, so I want to just stop you at some things, okay, Mark? One of the things is you said you wouldn't trust a government organization that gives you marijuana. Why?
Sure, because the same government is the one that's been persecuting us and telling us that marijuana was bad for us for 50 years. Why should we give our industry over to people who've been telling everybody for the last 50 years that marijuana was harmful?
But you're not trusting. You're not trusting the product. You're just saying, I don't like how this person this agency just turned around and decided to go do an about face.
How much credibility can they have if they told us that marijuana was bad for you for 50 years, told you shouldn't have it, put you in jail if you did get it, punished you if you bought it, tried to make life really difficult for you, your family, and your children. And now all of a sudden they're going to say, oh, we sell weed now, trust us. No, they can go to hell.
I know, but you did vote for Justin Trudeau.
I know, because he was the least of the three evils. We had to get rid of Stephen Harper because he wouldn't negotiate with us at all. At least with Trudeau, who's been deceptive and sleazy and slippery, at least he's on the negotiating table. He's there. He's saying, we're going to bring legalization in. It's just a bad kind for what I want. And I'm saying, no, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to force the issue on the street by making it like this. Because to me, our cannabis culture shop at Queen Street West is exactly what legalization should look like. And that's what Jody and I are going to be doing for the next year and a half, is opening shops like this up all over Canada and telling people this is what legalization looks like. Don't accept anything else.
Okay, Mark, I want to ask you about this. We're talking to Marc Emery, who is, people have dubbed him as the Prince of Pot. He owns Cannabis Culture and a few other dispensaries in Canada. Mark, let's talk a little bit about the criminal element. I know, okay. and that's probably you're not involved with that, but there is a criminal element right now that are involved in the marijuana trade, and it's very real. No, it's very real, and I'm not telling you where I sit on it.
If it was legal, they wouldn't be criminals, would
right? Well, right now though, there's some bad dudes. Yeah, okay, so there are some bad guys.
Why are bad dudes attracted to marijuana?
I'm just asking about the safety.
I'm asking
I'm asking you.
Why are bad dudes in marijuana?
Because there's money there, and there's money there.
Because the government made that happen.
And I'm not in support of legalizing marijuana. I want you to know that right now. But what I do want to ask.
The connection, though.
No, I'm making the connection. I just want to make
criminals involved in the marijuana trade is because of the government.
No, because of prohibition. I get that. No, right. I've already got that. I haven't even got to the question I was going to ask. So there are some people, it's not the same as when I lived in BC, Mark. I've smoked marijuana. There are some marijuana strains right now that are off the chart.
What does that mean?
Well, they're off the chart. They're like wheelchair.
What chart?
And they are.
Wouldn't you just smoke less of it? The stronger something is, like for example.
Yeah, but no. My point is, but let me finish this. It's not even. I'm just asking about. There have been people that have said, we've had on the show before, that there has been some pot that has been laced with, Windex or stuff like that. How do you control things like that? Not getting into, because you're taking where I'm going the wrong way. How do you, if you're a dispensary right now, while it's not legal, make sure that your supply is not one of those questionable products?
Well, we know all the growers for one. We handle the
You do, but how do the other ones?
Well, it doesn't matter. The customer decides.
But if the customer's just walking into a dispensary and they don't know, Mark, and
they know everything about pot. They've been smoking for years. How can you say such?
But they're not smoking for years. Are you kidding? There's a bunch of hipsters. You're telling me that everybody that walks into your dispensary has been smoking for years. I don't buy it.
Oh, for sure. Why would they be here?
Because they want to smoke pot and they figure it's almost legal, and why not? But it doesn't mean that they've been smoking for years.
We're not getting a whole bunch of newbie users because it's about to be legal. That's some kind of weird mythology. Most people who smoke pot smoke it regularly from the time they're 14 to 16 years old. So most people I see in here are in their 30s, 40s, and in fact, some of them are old, 60s, 70s. So they've been smoking 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Okay, but when you walk into a store, you figure what you're going to buy is a product that has been, is on the up and up. But I'm just wondering how you control who's supplying the supply to some of the dispensaries, not yours because you know them.
I will buy pot from anybody who produces a good product. How do I know it's a good product? I smoke it myself. And then after that, my staff does. And then after that, our customer feedback will tell us everything we need to know. But you know what they tell us? Everything is really awesome. They love the stuff because they trust the credibility of cannabis culture. They trust that I would not sell them poison. My reputation is on these businesses, and my reputation is far better than any government official or person in a bureaucratic position in government. So,
okay. Mark, I have 1 minute left, so I want to give you your chance to say this.
Or do you trust Marc Emery when you're buying your pot? You're going to trust me.
I don't know. I've never bought my pot from Marc Emery. Okay,
well,
I want Mark.
You're not entitled to criticize.
Mark, hey, I'm entitled to ask, be the devil's advocate and ask.
Questions, but you're implying that there's some.
No, I was asking. I'm not implying. I'm saying there is some out there. I'm not saying it's yours. I'm asking how people feel confident or how dispensaries, make sure they're getting the right product. That's all. It was just a safety question that people are asking. Wait, I want to go back. I only have a minute. I really want to ask you this question. Why do you think cops are coming down so hard when we know the laws are about to change?
Because they're told to do so. They live to take orders. That's all it is. Cops don't have a soul, a heart. If they did, they couldn't be a cop. They have to take orders every morning and obey them obediently and uncritically, or they can't be cops. So what a cop thinks when he arrests us, I have no idea. He might think these are good people. It's a shame they're being arrested. But his job is to go around and ignore his own morality and do what his superiors tell him. Even Chief Police Saunders is being told what to do by somebody else. He is not his own man. He doesn't even have the most coherent explanation of why these raids took place. He was muttering something about, we don't know the THC value in these brownies. And I'm saying, well, who cares?
Well, that's what I was questioning.
Well, the thing is, when we asked him, when my wife was there, she said, who harmed this? Who's harmed by this? Who's complained? He said, I don't have any data on that. Meaning, in all the times dispensaries have been in Toronto, selling for years in many cases, but certainly a lot, he doesn't have one example of anybody who's complained from a tainted product. Not one.
Well, you know what, Mark? I have to unfortunately end the show because this is a rousing conversation I'm having with you, and I would prefer it to go on and on. I'm not even kidding, and I'm not being condescending at all with you. I find it fascinating, and things are changing definitely with marijuana legalization on the it's on the fore.